Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to JoyNews. Today we're coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle. We're on DTT because we're free to air on DSTV channel 421 and Go TV channel 144. We are your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Coming up this afternoon, Kejetia market managers failed to fix anomalies identified in fire control mechanisms installed at the markets. That's the preliminary findings of the Ghana Fire Service as the Regional Security Council directs a shutdown of the facility for at least 3 days to establish cause of incident. Also this afternoon, a shattered dream, the story of a 10-year-old boy who wanted to become an engineer but is today struggling to walk again. Plus, in our Ghana Man series today, we will be telling you why Ghana's John Kanu is celebrated in the Caribbean till today. Plus, for our Tech Thursday, KNUST students design a remote-controlled extension board. We'll be showing you how it works. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. We're coming to you live also on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter at JoyNews on TV. My personal handle is at the Nana Aisha. Please stay for details. Many thanks for choosing us. Management of the Kejetia market failed to rectify some anomalies identified in the fire control mechanisms of the market. According to the Ashanti Regional Fire Commander ACFO 1 Henry Jiwa, several written complaints for the management to fix the problems were not heeded too. For this reason, the fire department refused to renew the fire certificate at the market after its expiration in 2021. That's their preliminary findings following yesterday's fire, which has led to the shutdown of the facility. We'll hear from the service shortly. First, here's a recap of what happened.
It is alleged the fire started from a shop at a section of the market where combustibles are sold. Traders made attempts to stop the spread but were unsuccessful. According to the Ashanti Regional Director of NADMO, Frank Diodu, some materials exploded as the fire raged.
There was a fire incident which had burnt quite a number of shops, which is not that much though to say. But the fire started from one shop and spread to the other shops. The very area that began the fire are areas where we find items being sold at cupboard, what do you call it, tapping time, catapult, which are all prone to fire. So when it started from one end, we got to the ground, we got to know they tried to put the situation down, but it got out of hand before they could call fire. There were explosions and all that, which we are yet, together with fire, to investigate, to know how the explosion came by.
Several fire tenders arrived at the scene to douse the flame. The security services and some traders aided the rescue of people trapped in the facility. Cranes of the construction firm contractor came in handy for the rescue efforts. An eyewitness narrates.
Every third floor over down. And the third floor over down.
Until the contractors brought their cranes, they had tied a cloth from the third floor. With that, some people were descending from the top. A woman tripped, but the police were able to catch her. But for them, she would have died.
Second floor. Mammy can so second floor. Was it to me? I saw a panic first floor, last floor, a panic floor. I can police for now. And a police guy on my friend NS, say Fredo. Oh yeah, dear Papa, can you know that police for Nick Segasena? I come no go.
The Kejetia market has since been cordoned as security personnel patrol the enclave. Mr. Diodu says the fire service and other security agencies are expected to be in the market on Thursday to start investigations.
There has been a small discussion with management of the market. We've urged them to put out a publication out there. Activities for tomorrow at the market could not be carried out at the early hours of tomorrow. They are yet to come out, which we are recommending close to the midday. And even if the shops are open, we do also recommend that they will be closed up, then people will leave for proper works to be carried out so that the other side that were not affected could get light. But for the meantime, I'm not sure business activities could be carried out very early in the morning.
The market, which was redeveloped in 2017, is the biggest trading center in the Ashanti region with over 10,000 stores. The first phase of the project costs the government $298 million. For JoyNews, Nanaya Ochima, Kumasi.
We can now hear from the Ashanti Regional Fire Commander ACFO 1, Henry Jiwa, who says some safety measures were ignored. According to him, investigations have begun.
We are still investigating. Just like you know, we don't have to speculate. We've heard so many stories. But as professionals, we have to make sure we get exactly what happens. So we are still investigating. What we can say is we know where the fire started. But as to what happened before the fire started, we are yet to establish.
What has been the operation yesterday? When had hectic time, thousands was full?
It wasn't easy, but like you know, we were able to manage. And that has been fires, that is how it is. Normally when it happens, you have to come, and most of the times when you don't even know what is involved, you have to come and manage, and that is how it is. So we are all right with it.
So what was the challenge?
The challenge was the couplings, the hose rails. You see, they have installed almost everything that we need to fight fire over here. But the challenge is the couplings. It's not compatible with ours. So if you fight the fire using their hoses and you want to extend further and you need to extend the line, that's where you have a challenge because we can't use ours to extend. And theirs are also not available. So that was the initial challenge that we had. But we were able to mobilize some and manage the fire.
We know that you've been here on fire drills on a number of times.
Yeah.
Did you identify this challenge? What was the
we did, and we recommended to them. We've written to them severally. Even Minister even mentioned it. We've written to them severally that these things needs to be amended, these things need to be rectified before anything happens. Because most of the time we have to be proactive, and that's exactly what we try doing. Somebody will also ask, when they didn't do it, what did you do? At times you need to manage some of these things because it's not that easy. That you come and close down the Kejetia shop. You know the number of people that trade over here, it's about 8,000 shops. You come and close, look at the number of mouths that they are feeding. So most of the times you have to make sure that you compromise a little, but make sure the minimum standards are maintained.
So now there are some concerns from the traders that this market didn't have the fire certificate and other things that were supposed to help them renew their insurance and other things.
Yes, just like I said, we want the minimum standards to be maintained. And so far as we are concerned, they've not been, and that is why we've not renewed them. They've applied for it, but we've also written back to them, telling them exactly what we want them to do before we can renew it.
Meanwhile, the Ashanti Regional Security Council wants a shutdown, and that shutdown must last for at least 3 days. Regional Minister Ashaiman Mensah says there is a need to establish reasons behind the failure of some installed firefighting systems at the market to activate and automatically douse the flame. He says issues of insurance at the market would also be established in the investigations. He's also worried about the composition of the board for the market. He reveals the Regional Coordinating Council should have been updated on happenings at the market.
Like the cars, solve the problem of traffic congestion. The ground floor in the terminal and a congestion, traders and pavements. So near the you know, you need to shop. One more time, be unable, dear Banchi, by rare, Nam near Denina, woman and ton shops, not on tabletop. The consultant has agreed. When we use the first floor in our traditional market. The second view a Friday night in Sihan. Say drinks, very effective drinks around the market. The fees too, no, or more drinks around the whole market. South Florida, I experience in Hano, experience view. Yasanka drums at this time, it should be designed. Say, every market should have separate meter. And also, my dear, they are going to do that. Said the car, ABS, and the consultants, and also coffees to help you, help you. Do we have adequate emergency exits? Send your buyer fire be an to rent and be seer. Nipan be bribinya baby on Bidani Afa. Yeah, fees soon. I think the design changes now. Let's pray, say, bit me implementing exactly as all of us have agreed. About problem, the bus in Nipan be bribinya baby a Janiafa. Not like what happened here now. Send your fire for a year very fast. When we use you on Rupuno at the time, and Nipa be very fast. Abia Casamwe Betino, and some papa, Cabaya worse than this one.
Minister, you better say, Neso so no hwe eno the nature of fire no na ne me bi to the home ne me bi e wo shops what I be the shops on beton san ne mani
say medical cafe no motor car bag e wa ha na some adhesive say glue nya de glue mu nyina no e catch fire spread very fast na ne ben na no shi Many fire officer, but the little I've learned from fire for Nese, and yet a Ibiani doom jebia. Even fire for no Bahana beginning, every woman in crash a car bad never ha. One year lucky cry initially, no, I don't be doom no first, none very effective. One more the CO2 in the doom, one more the soon the doom. Well, they have one more the foam in the doom, but all depends on the type of fire. Na omehun enti utana ye no bana obi kura ntimi anka nkyerem say aha car bad na ho a wan we initial kura no don't be do na nye but we thank God say fire service at least hardly do people praise them but now they say most radio stations are monitoring na praise fire service and even the police command yes metia ibi wo say obi an shop be say Chinese be shop be na kofa machine be burn. It's not true. Fire service for na friend no turntable ladder and fire they use it in rescue operations where
you heard the Ashanti Regional Minister Ashaiman Mensah explaining that he doesn't know much about fire, but the little he knows about fire shows that quenching fire requires a lot. He's, however, been commending the fire service for helping in dealing with the situation. Let's cross over to the Ashanti region, to the Kejetia market, and speak with Nanaya Ojima. Nanaya, as we speak, what can you report from the Kejetia market? What's the situation? Hello, Nanaya.
At the moment, the Kejetia market is still locked. Yesterday, Aisha.
Go ahead, Nanaya.
Yesterday, per the information that was given out, the market was supposed to be
opened by Midday to allow people who trade in here access to their wares. Those who had perishable items here would be allowed to come in and get access to their wares, and if they would want to pack it out of the market, they do so. Those who have lockable shops but were unable to secure their wares will also be allowed to get to their wares and secure their shops and also their wares. But unfortunately, it's past midday, but still the people are here to get access to the market. Now from the gate, if you can see in your shot, there's some kind of exchanges between the traders here and also the market officials, that's the security men. At midday, the security men wanted to open the doors, but due to the rush at the gate, they had to once again shut it and try to do that, allow them to trickle in slowly. But unfortunately, some of the traders would not barge in. That is the cause of the scuffle between these traders and also the security men at the Kejetia market. It's a very difficult situation here. As you can see, there's some struggle there, and some of the security men are trying to use some form of force to ensure that these people do not rush into the market. At the moment, I can see the exchanges still going on. The traders, a lot of them are livid, and this is being replicated in every entrance of the market. This is not the only entrance, this is the main one. In all the other entrances, there's similar situation there at the entrance. So I don't know what is going on now, but I can see the leadership of the market, Mr. Dufour, walking to the gate to also have a conversation with the traders, and we will see what will happen. I do not know the conclusion they will be able to reach, but hopefully they will allow these traders to come in and get access to their wares, and whatever they would want to pick, they get to pick it. So he's having a conversation with them. We are trying to get closer to him and listen to the conversation between himself and the traders. So this is Mr. Dufour. He is in charge of the Kejetia market. He manages the market, and that's in your shot are some of the traders who are outside and Mr. Dufour having a conversation.
3 days
So he is communicating to them the decision that they've taken so far, and now the decision is that they will allow them to come in here for just 2 hours today to pack out their wares. So after today, those who do not have their shops affected by the fire will not get access to this market until Monday for them to complete investigation, also assessment being done here. Those who have their wares destroyed by the fire will have 3 hours each day till Monday to also come in and conduct their business or try to salvage some of their wares. As you can see, the market is now opened and a number of them are trickling in. I can see some calm now. Some people have now gotten access. Let me talk to some of this man. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
What's up there? Now, Odian is here, and I said,
yeah.
I said, no money, I break on Besson.
Once yes, I know. A fear no in our lives of Yanama, once I know, yes, I need to man tonam. Yanamni now good fridge in the moon. In Jessiano, Yamak, Amakwama, Yinam Nanko Pepe Biancha, Nina Bessa, Becca.
When you broke gates, I know. Oh, that's a part. Now, and now I'm more a dozen.
And I'm dozen, say, no, because you're a dozen, a freeze, a copim noa, and I'm passing from Qua. And I'm bound to twice, so I don't see a fish. Oh, into what by your customers a year corner now the court. And as open your fridge baby a year qua now the court is a last number, can ever bano.
So he tells me that he deals in beef, and from all indication since yesterday, due to the electricity, due to the fire incident, electricity to the market was cut, and if they are unable to get access to the market to cut some of their products, they'll go rotten, and these are perishable items. That is why they were so livid and trying to get access to the place. But as you can see, now the market has been opened. All the other entrances are also open to allow people get access to the market and try salvage some of their wares. So now it's free flow for the traders. They are all going straight to their shelves, shelters, and also their lockable shops to pick whatever they will need out of the place, the perishable items they have in there to pick them. Also those who have lockable shops.
You heard then Anaya Ojema with some update from the Kejetia market. We certainly will go back there for more in our subsequent bulletins. But let's take to the Ashanti region, this time at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, because as humans sometimes we tend to be forgetful and leave appliances on the extension board. This actually can result in fire outbreaks leading to loss of property. So what if you have ability to control your extension board remotely? That is what 3 students from the Computer Engineering Department of the KNUST have done. On Tech Thursday, Love FM's Kwesi Deborah speaks with the brains behind this innovation. Alexander Sebunsu, Francis Akwesi Ajaman, and Obed Ansah.
The extension board is controlled by the internet, so they've developed an app for this purpose. This board has a current sensor to know how much users are consuming at a point in time.
Okay, so this is an IoT device, an IoT extension board. It is basically supposed to give a user or a consumer the ability to control his or her extension boards remotely. Most of the time, as people, we leave our houses and sometimes we forget that we left sockets on, we left devices connected to sockets not turned off. So you can't come back and then come and turn it off. Maybe you may be busy at work or something. So having a device such as this will give you the opportunity to turn it off remotely via an app that we have as a counterpart to the device. So how it works is it uses 4 relay modules to control each of the sockets. We have linked one of the relay modules to the bulb so that when we turn it on, users can see that yes, it's really working. Okay, and then it also has a current sensor. Now the current sensor feeds information to the app so that the user can know how much power or how much energy they are consuming at every point in time. So those are basically the components that make up and then also a fuse to protect it from surges and overcurrents.
So we have the SmartX, we have a manual override, and we have a mobile app. So the manual override is when you are close to your extension board and you don't have your phone around and you just want to use it as an ordinary extension board. So that you can have, we have these switches to control the turn on and off of the various components of the extension board. So you can see as I turn them on, the various components goes off, and as I turn them on, they go on as well. But if you are far away and you want to control your extension board, if you forgot to do something with your extension board, you can actually turn them off and on.
Reporting for JoyNews, Kwesi Deborah.
Let's come back to Accra and go to the Ashaiman community where a young soldier was killed a few days ago. Lawyer for some suspects who were arrested by the police is currently addressing the community.
On his own, he treated more than 50 people for free. I invited him for free because some were emergency and time was of essence. So he did that. And we are grateful for the services he has rendered to the people. So we quickly put a desk to collate the list of all affected persons. As at this morning, before this program, victims so far per our record is 247 people that have been assaulted. Some, the military went to their home, destroyed their properties. There's a man here, he's a retired custom officer. He went to the village for a funeral. His house is a story building. The son and the wife were at the story building. This poor son woke up to go and attend to the urinal. Then when he switched the light on, the military mistakenly thought that he was videoing them. So by the time he returned into his bedroom, they have thrown stone to shatter the glasses at the top of the building. As if that was not enough, they knocked on the gate violently that he should open same, and he said no. He doesn't know them, so he can't open. So they scaled the wall, destroy every door in the house, beat every person in the house severely. Everybody was bleeding profusely, and took 3 people there to a unknown destination. When then a neighbor called him. This is a retired officer. He was so worried from his hometown, close to home. It took him less than 1 hour to get here. And he was shivering. And it's due to the effort of some people like him. That's how come some people were able to write his statement. Even him, he said when he got there, they said no one allowed him to write statements on behalf of his children. People were abducted from their homes and taken to unknown destinations. It was through follow-ups that we got to know that they initially took some to Michelle camp, which was closed, then later transferred to Bema camp. When they abducted the people, they subjected them to severe beatings, molestation. So the question we ask that if we live in a democratic country like Ghana, that we always tout about that our credentials, if for anything at all, we are a beacon of hope for democracy for Africa, if not sub-Saharan Africa. Is this the epitome of democracy that in a country like Ghana, a poor civilian who has not committed any offense cannot have peace on his bed? And that's the greatest worry on the lips of everybody here. That the people were not on the streets that they were picked up. They were lying peacefully on their bed. So on the 7th March, they released the first batch of the people the military illegally took away. And it was partly due to the effort of the Member of Parliament for Ashaiman, the retired custom officer, the members of the Ashaiman Lives Matter. They released the first batch. The following day, they released the second batch. And the last batch, they said they were kept for special treatment. And we said we don't know what will happen to them. So on Thursday, the 9th of March, 2023, we held a press conference and spelled out what happened and what our demands are. Just after the press conference, we were reliably informed that the rest of the detainees were released. Some cannot walk to this place because they were severely assaulted that they cannot walk. Some cannot have erection. The message we have on behalf of the victims here is that the dignity of every human being is the most important ingredient that makes you a human being. Without committing an offense, even when you commit an offense, there's laid down procedure for attending to the offense. So if you can be treated with indignity, today it is Ashaiman, tomorrow it will be somewhere else. We are saying to the committee, and we are glad that the Minister for Defense Service is here, we, the people of Ashaiman, we are tired of military brutalization. This is not the first time This is not the second time, this is not the third time or the fourth time. So it appears that consistently the military has a beef with the people of Ashaiman. We are saying that Ashaiman people, we are peace-loving people.
So you have the lawyer for the Ashaiman victims, and he's been saying that for so long the military has been targeting Ashaiman community. He says they are tired of military brutality. Remember, the Defense and Interior Committee has been in the community for a fact-finding, on a fact-finding mission, and they have been receiving briefings from the lawyer and other members of the community. Let's now look at Frank Jimla, who is only 10 years, but his childhood adventure of climbing trees, running around, playing football has also been shattered in his eyes. A year and a half ago, Frank and his brother were on their way to northern regional town of Bimbilla when a motorbike ran into them, crushing his lifelong dreams of becoming an engineer. Freelance journalist Justice Bede traveled to meet him in a small village. Here's his report.
His home village has no June and route. For all of Jimla Frank's life, he's wanted to be an engineer. For a boy living in a small remote town in northern Ghana, his talent and the sort of things he is able to build shocks many. In the yard of his home, he displays some of the things he has made: a prototype helicopter, a bulldozer, a saloon car, and many more made from sticks, threads, and used electronic waste materials.
He's saying that this is the grader that we used to construct road, and this is the strength.
He had hopes that his talent could propel him into a well-paying job in the future, so he too could help lift his family out of poverty. A year ago, all that dream was shattered in his face. He was on a bicycle with his brother en route to sell on a market day at Bimbilla, the nearest major town, when a motorcycle hit and ran over him.
It was like a dream. I went into a coma. When I regained consciousness, my leg was gone. It had been crushed by the motorbike. I was in extreme pain.
When Frank's bicycle got crushed and he needed urgent help, it took his family more than 5 hours to make the journey from this village to see the nearest specialists in the Tamale Teaching Hospital, the only teaching hospital in northern Ghana. By the time they had made that journey, Frank says he was already unconscious and in unbearable pain.
It's been nearly 2 years and Frank has not been to school. Nasongno, his home village, has no junior high school facility, and so children walk up to 5 miles to the next village that has one to continue high school education. Because of the pain he feels when walking with no aids, he has been left behind.
I am always hiding in my room. I don't want to come out because when I do and I see my friends walking and going to school, I cry. I cry a lot. I am pained that I can't go to school like everyone else.
After a year of back and forth traveling to Tamale and many expensive procedures, Frank's farmer father has run out of money and asks that his son stays home.
They bill us a lot and we paid. So when we paid and they asked us to come home, we saw that the leg was still like that. But they said when we come to the house, we should be bringing him to the hospital. So we do send him to hospital. And now the money got finished. And here's the case too, he cannot also use his leg to walk. So in our mind, the way the guy always think and he's always sad in anything that his activities he's doing, then we are thinking that if you can get money and send him back to hospital or TTH to see if they will still treat the leg and he can use to work, or maybe whatever the doctor will prescribe, then we'll take it like that.
Frank's family is hoping against all odds that divine help reaches his son, and hopefully very, very soon. Justice Peidu from Nasongno for Joy News.
And in our Ghana Man series today, there are 32 forts and castles dotted along the coast of Ghana, which were used for the slave trade. All of the forts share similar stories, but they are all unique. Today, we focus on Fort Fredericksburg, located in the Princess Town in the Western region. Do you know that a local merchant called John Coney or John Kenu attacked and captured the fort? John Kenu is celebrated in the Caribbean for his bravery. In today's series of Ghana Month, Kojo Yangson sits down with the Western Regional Director of the Museum and Monuments Board, Kwesi Isil Blankson, for some good history lessons.
Mr. Blankson.
Yes, my good friend, how are you doing?
Where have you brought us?
I
can hardly believe we are still in Ghana.
Yes, we are.
This is beautiful.
Yeah.
Fort Fredericksburg.
Fredericksburg.
Tell us the history of this place.
Well, Fredericksburg was a German fort built by the Bredenbergers. So in around 1680, the German, they used to call them the Bredenbergers. They formed a company and decided to compete in Africa, particularly against Dutch and English. And so they targeted areas where the English and the Dutch were strong or relatively strong, and then pushed their territories there. And so in 1630, they sent an emissary to the king of, they call it Pekusu, who was the king of the area, to seek property for this. And they traded in it for about 33 years and eventually sold it to the Dutch. Now, when they were here, trade was very good. They recruited a local merchant, they called him John Coney, to be their ambassador or their factor, as they call it. So he established links with Asen, Wasa, Ashanti to direct traders to this fort. So it was very, very lucrative. When they tried to sell the fort to the Dutch, the Bredenbergers did not inform John Coney, which infuriated him greatly. So he staged a coup and attacked the fort and captured it.
Wow.
Yes.
So locals, Ghanaians,
yeah, John Coney captured this fort, Fredericksburg fort, and traded with, just like Ashaiman in Christiansburg, traded with the Europeans here at cutthroat price. Then the Dutch realized, no, this guy is disturbing us. So they sent an army, a group, to come and take up the fort. The captain Van Hoven was the leader, and for 3 days they bombarded this fort from the ocean, and about 120 men landed on the coast to take over. That was when John Coney also opened fire. Bang, 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 bang. Killed most of them. It said that about 35 only survived out of the 120 people, men that landed here, and managed to swim back to their boats and then eventually left. And that's victory of John Coney just reverberated throughout the Caribbean, especially among the Dutch colonies. And so it is celebrated every year. Yes, in what has become as the John Kanu Festival. You know, it's an international festival. You can Google it and look for it.
John Coney Festival.
John Coney. Now they call it John Kanu, C-A-N-O, like Kanu.
Oh,
John
right.
Kanu. Okay. John Coney can also come up with it. So John Coney's Festival. It is celebrated in the Caribbean.
Why are the exploits of John Coney celebrated in other parts of the world but not here in Ghana?
Well, because probably we have not established that fact. We have not let people know. In fact, when we went to the chief, he said some Jamaicans were coming here early this month, remember? I'm sure this was linked to that because they see him as a hero.
We're still live on JoyNews today, coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle. We'll take a break. When we return, there's a very latest coming to you from the world of business.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to Business. My name is Daryl Kwao. In our first story, the Institute of Economic Affairs has criticized government's claim that it has not been reckless in spending and borrowing. Assessing the President's State of the Nation address, the Institute called on government to also review the cost of its various flagship programs. Here's more in this report.
The Institute urged government to leverage internal resources and capacities to develop Ghana's economy and permanently position it beyond aid and debt. Dr. Kwachi reiterated the need to develop a culture of fiscal and financial discipline.
We can argue that Côte d'Ivoire, if you look at the way they manage their economy, is much better, is better managed when we compare with what we do here. In other words, they have, they manage the economy under a system of rules. There are rules that you have to meet. There are rules. We operate mostly under a system of discretion. We use more discretion. Only a few rules that we have in place. But if the discretionary policy is not, helping us, then we might as well impose, more rules on the economy. So we can learn from Côte d'Ivoire. So he then mentions that, he uses this to buttress his point that his government has not been reckless in borrowing and spending, because he says that we've borrowed, we've spent a lot, but this is what we have to show for it. Well, it is important for these projects and programs to be documented and quantified, because often the question is asked by others, what government has used the loans that is taking. In fact, 2016, at the end of 2016, the government inherited a public debt of 122 billion. As of November last year, the latest data that we have, the figure was 575 billion. So 122 to 575. And people have been asking the question, what did you use all this money for?
The IEA stated that post-COVID-19 and Ukraine war affected most economies, but its impact on Ghana's economy was harder. They explained that continuous worsening of underlying vulnerabilities in terms of fiscal and debt sustainability is the reason behind Ghana's economic woes.
And industry Michael Chibefi has indicated that the agri sector needs innovation and more investments to expand. He has been speaking at the Agritech West Africa Expo in Accra.
In Ghana, the agricultural sector is an important economic sector and a key source of livelihood for the rural populace. However, the sector lacks the adoption of innovative solutions to bridge gaps in mechanization and financing. According to the Deputy Minister, more youth should be supported to expand the sector.
Now, agriculture without technology means that we will not have a lot of yield. I mean, the output will be less without technology. That's why there's a need for a lot of innovation in the area of agriculture technology. And thankfully, this exhibition is matching the two. Clearly, we have people in that area, purely the value chain of agriculture, and also, those in purely the area of technology, which to us is so good. So, clearly, it's an opportunity for the people in that area to take advantage of the situation so that we're able to get more in terms of output, in terms of yield. And that's what I want to encourage. Government is strongly behind this exhibition.
On his part, President of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, Dr. Joseph Opin, said Ghana's path to economic transformation has been characterized by high growth in the service sector, stagnation in the manufacturing industry, hence the need for financing within the agricultural sector.
We've been told so many times that we have to migrate from trading into captains of industry, where we will add value to our raw materials. And this is the beginning. You see the farming implements here, they are very basic and they are not costly. And that if we are introduced to this implement, and then make conscious effort that we are driving us into manufacturing, it will be very easy for us to do that. And you know, India manufactures quality products, and their prices are also affordable. And there are so many ways that we can build bridges with India, where it will better the lot of Ghanaians.
The Agritech West Africa with Food and Beverage and Food Park Tech Ghana exhibition covers the entire value chain of agriculture with approximately 100 companies exhibiting from countries such as India, South Africa, Turkey, Nigeria, Ghana, UK, and Italy.
And that's it for business. More coming up on the marketplace. Do stay tuned though. Sports is up next. Welcome to Midday Sports. My name is Haruna Mubarak. Now, 16 days to the big bout between Isaac Dodbe and Robaisi Ramirez. Now, the Ghanaian boxer has been intensifying training ahead of the big fight. His assistant actually has been speaking to my colleague Nathaniel Atto on what preparations are like.
We don't change anything we was doing. We just pretty much add to it. And a lot of things we were getting on him about is just fighting emotional. Like, you know, like if you get hit by something, you know, you just don't show that, oh, you know, you want to get back on anything. It's, you know, like I say, there's a plan for that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, in boxing, if you get hit, you can't let a man know you hurt or anything. You know, you just, with Isaac, we have to, in the gym, sometimes we have to calm down because, like, he can be working and, you know, get hit with something and just kind of lose it. Now you want to fight. Like, you know, boxing, it ain't about fighting. You know what I'm saying? It's you know, it's about being strategic. You know what I'm saying? Not just losing your head over stuff. So it was just little things like that. You know, calm down, kind of settle down. But you know, I mean, he was always good. We just had to add to it. But I just think after those 2 losses in that right, he was kind of broken though. You know what I'm saying? But he slowly but surely got everything back in order. And like I said, we still working with him on it. But he's if you watch a few of his last fights, he's doing different things. He's thinking now. You know, instead of just kind of just rushing out there doing anything. Now he's making things count. Like instead of throwing mindless punches, he's taking his time. He's placing his shots. You know, shooting the shots he needed to shoot instead of just. You know, at first when he came, he was just like, there's just a few things we had to correct. But, I mean, overall, I thought this, you know, whoever had him, which was his dad or whatever, I thought he did a great job with him.
That's Patrice Harris, the assistant trainer of Isaac Dodbe, speaking to my colleague Nathaniel Atto. Let's talk about football because the Ghana Football Association Executive Council member Oduro Safo has defended the decision of Chris Hughton to name 25 players for the Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers against Angola without any home-based player. My colleague Lawrence Beidou has the rest of the story.
Hughton named his first squad of 25 players since being appointed as the head coach of the senior national team. Ghana will face Angola in the Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers with the first leg set for March 23 at the Baba Yara Sports Stadium in Kumasi, and the return leg will come off 4 days later in Rwanda. In recent years, players on the local scene are given invitation into the Black Stars team during matches or tournaments. At the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, Asante Kotoko goalkeeper Danlad Ibrahim and then Hearts of Folk forward Efriye Banye were included in the team. However, this time around, no home-based player will be involved in the national assignment, raising concerns about player quality in the country. But Oduro Safo believes the players squad up are currently playing better than the home-based players.
Look at the players that have been invited, and then put them together, juxtapose them against those locals that you think they should play. They are not there. So here is a case, we have the under-23, the local blaster, the under-20s, and we are building them to take over in future. So most of the players out there, some came from under 20, some came from under 23. So that is it. I think I have nothing against the selection of players. Black Star call-ups are based on your performance for a period. And I'm asking you that if we have so many players in Europe and their performance are good, juxtaposed against the local players here, they are a shade ahead of them. What do you want us to do? You cannot say because, like Mr. Kejetia said some time ago, that the call up to the national team is not a local assembly where you have quota.
That's your sports. My name is Haruna Mubarak. Up next is Showbiz.
Beautiful Becky. That's how we wrap up the bulletin this afternoon. Log on to myjoyonline.com. There's more of the news and updates of all the developing stories. Do enjoy the rest of our programs.